Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CHEK blog. I am James Phelps, editor of the blog, and I'm here today with Warren Williams, CHEK mentor, CHEK blog author, and founder of Warren Williams Coaching in the UK. How are you, Warren?
Yeah, I'm good. It's a nice day. I mean, it's kind of getting a little bit cloudy over here, but for the UK, this is quite good weather. So I'm just hoping that the clouds stay, kind of open so that we can keep this call going without any rain coming in.
I was just going to say, I hope you have an umbrella handy, right?
Yeah, no umbrellas, unfortunately.
All right. Well, excellent. So you don't get drenched. We'll dive right into it. I understand today that you're going to talk to us about the perception of stress and how we deal with it in our daily lives.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to kind of preface this by saying that pretty much everything I will go through when we go through this series is always going to tie back into the spiritual side. So I'm hoping that the viewers will start to really appreciate and understand that spirituality isn't just steeped in the ability to connect to God, but actually has a tie into how you actually live your life and how it can actually support your ability to live here, on this plane.
That sounds great. Good.
Right. So diving right into it, we understand that whenever there's an event that happens in our lives, typically that event can manifest based on how we perceive it. So obviously perception is reality to every person. So, it's like you sometimes think if you look at a specific color and you see green, but somebody else looks at that color and they see green, how does that green look to them? So it's your perception of how you see something is so different to everybody else's perception of it. So there's a saying that we have, the label that you place on the event is the event. It's not actually the event itself, it's actually the label. So if you're in a car crash, as an example, and you say, oh my gosh, this event devastated me, versus this event is concerning, your whole perception of that event has changed in your mind. The event hasn't changed, but your perception of that event has changed based on how you saw it. So whenever there's an event, first of all, you actually perceive it. So it's, you say, okay, that's the event. So you perceive it. The second stage is how you react to it. And then the third stage is how you internalize the event. And it's the internalizing that actually creates havoc in our bodies. So to give you an example, I used to work with this lady, and she was a nanny. And she was a nanny for very, very rich, upper class kind of parents. And sometimes these parents have very high standards. And, when this woman came to me, she had blue eyes, but you couldn't tell because her pupils were so dilated that all you could see was a little rim of blue around her eyes. Now, what that's an indication of is how she was perceiving her daily event as being stressful. So, and just to kind of track back on that for a second, the pupil dilation. Now, that's really important because if you remember The Matrix, everybody always talks about that classic scene in The Matrix where Neo, he dives backwards and he's getting shot with the bullets. To him, the event is happening incredibly slowly. But to Trinity, the woman that was, with him, she saw it happening in the blink of an eye. So his perception of the event had slowed down because his pupils had also dilated. I mean, there's also he was Neo and blah, 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 but the event happened slower to him because his pupils dilate. And when your pupils dilate, what's happening is your body's trying to take in as much information as rapidly as possible to prevent you from getting injured. Now, that's only supposed to happen in a life or death situation. The problem is that event happens almost all the time for most people in the Western world. So their body is constantly perceiving that they're always in stress. So, as we know, short-term stress shuts down the digestive system, long-term stress shuts down the immune system. So we have to, first of all, understand that the way to actually stop that is to actually perceive things differently. So, like our good friend Paul C.H.E.K says, don't react, respond. So when you react, that's this car crash. That's just the reaction. Respond is car crash. Take a pause. What does this really mean? I'm alive. First of all, I'm alive. Secondly, let's check if that other person's alive. Okay, now I'm responding to the event. So when we look at the tips, that's first of all one of the tips.
Right.
When you're in an event, try to actually take a pause and respond to actually what's happening, as opposed to your natural reaction to panic. Because what you're then doing is you're releasing glucocorticoids, cortisol, all this sort of stuff, and then your body goes into a fight or flight response, and then you start to shut down your immunity and your digestion and all sort of stuff. So long term, that's going to have an effect on us. There's a really good book, and I can't remember the author. It's called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And, you know, a lot of that is talking about in the wild, animals have a stressful event it may last a minute. They're either going to get hunted by a lion and die in a minute, or they're going to survive and graze for the rest of the day. So, you know, in the Western world, the problem is that we're constantly having this event because we label everything as such an important thing in our lives. So, you know, when we look at that, we have to understand that every event is not something that is really bad. It's just how you perceive it. So another thing that we say is you're not reacting to the event, you're reacting to a self-generating program. Or, you know, another thing that Paul C.H.E.K says is the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Yeah. Right.
And, you know, you see some people react to an event like it's life or death, and it's just you bought the wrong shoes, you know. And this is the thing that causes, you know, lifetime breakdown in our bodies. It creates a acid response where time seems to move faster to us because we're always erratic. So, you know, first of all, that's kind of the first thing I kind of wanted to establish, is getting people to understand how labels are actually affecting us. The second thing is what do we do now? Because we've just discussed the perception of the event. So the second stage is, as we said, how you react. So we perceive the event, we see the event as something traumatizing to us. What do we do next? We start to react to the event, as we spoke about, with the perception of the dilation of the pupils. So how do we control this in our day-to-day? We first of all focus on our breathing. We all know that breathing is intimately related to your perception of everything. Whenever somebody panics, the first thing that even a doctor will say to you is, okay, just breathe. And everybody says, just breathe, relax, relax. So we know intimately that our respiration is tied into our thought, because if we think faster, our breathing matches that. So we know that if we think slower, or if we breathe slower, our thinking will match our breathing. So every single time we are about to witness or are involved in an event, the simplest thing we can do is focus on taking 5 deep, slow breaths. And what that actually does is it triggers our mind to slow down. And once our mind slows down, then our body follows suit. And then the event is no longer perceived as life-threatening to the body. And it seems kind of simple, and people want something more complicated than that. But it really is that simple. Whenever an event happens, and most of the time, we're not in a life and death situation at every single moment. So some of your listeners can say, well, if I'm in a car crash, I'm not going to think about breathing 5 times. That's a very, very rare occurrence. And we're giving you the extreme example just to kind of show you how your body is reacting. But in every single day life, a typical day for somebody is they wake up and an alarm kind of shocks them out of their sleep. And they only ever give themselves just enough time to eat, shower, and get to work. They say it's going to take me exactly 1 hour to do this. So when they start their day, they're already in a rush. They're already in a stress response. And then they go to work. And when they go to work, they may encounter traffic, unless they're the president and all the roads are, you know, separated and there's bollards everywhere and police escort. So their travel is always disrupted in some way. And they're either stuck in traffic or someone cuts them up in traffic. So they're always experiencing the stress from moment to moment every single day. They get to work, then they have deadlines. And those deadlines are stressful events. They're put under pressure because they're paid by somebody who expects a result within a specific time. So then that creates more stress. Then they're on the go, so they eat in a rush. So then they're still in a stress response because they're not allowed to digest their food properly. Then the end of the day comes and they either go to the gym and punish their bodies, stressing themselves out even more, or they go home and they cool down with alcohol which is stressing them out even more.
Right.
Or they watch some trashy TV, which is showing somebody else in a life or death situation.
Right.
Or they watch the news, which is a stressful situation again,
Right.
because nothing ever good happens on the news.
Yeah.
So then the cycle continues.
Right.
So that's pretty much the daily thing that we want to try and get people to avoid. So I've just kind of summarized a typical day in the Western world.
Yeah.
So how do we now look at that and correct that? Simple things that we can do.
Yeah.
The first chakra is the perception of stress. And obviously, I know you know this, James, but just in case somebody's viewers don't know, the first chakra is, safety and security. And whenever somebody is stressed, that affects their ability to feel safe.
Yeah.
So because that chakra resonates our thought, we have to do things that actually help to support that specific chakra. So one of the things I always say before we talk about that chakra, one of the things I always say to people is only two things you can do with stress. You can either improve your tolerance to it or resistance to it, or avoid it. Mm-hmm. So the example of that is if you were a stockbroker and you're working 70 hours a week and it's stressing you out, you either leave the job, obviously find a new job prior to the event, or you improve your tolerance to it, such as building your vitality through cultivating chi exercises. And one of these, now returning to the point, one of these is building the first chakra in an energetic way. We do this by getting people to simply put their feet on grass, or if you have real wood flooring, you can put your feet on real wood flooring or marble, because those are more earthy. And you can simply just put your feet there for 20 minutes while you're watching TV or eating food, if that's what you need to do. But the action of putting your feet on something like that helps to re-ionize the body with negative ions, which helps to pull the positive ions out of the body, which basically slows down the body's perception of stress and creates a parasympathetic or rest digest response. It seems simple, but that's the first thing we can do. And it doesn't mean we're changing our daily activity. It just means we're doing the same thing, but we're just doing it with contact with the ground. So some of my clients, I say to them, if you've had a busy day, if you have a garden, go outside in your garden and put your feet in grass for 20 minutes. You can, go on your phone if you need to, because your mind is racing. You can get a newspaper if you need to, but just be on grass for 20 minutes a day. Really simple. The next thing we can do to support the ground or the root chakra is we can actually get crystals that actually support the root chakra. So, some of the good crystals that support the root chakra is like bloodstone. So you can, the listeners can just go on Google bloodstone. You can find it. You can get it on Amazon. You can get yourself a bloodstone crystal or a tiger's eye crystal. And all you do is you keep that on your body. You keep that on your person day to day. And because the crystal resonates at the frequency that the chakra resonates on, or the energy center in our body resonates on, which is also the same vibrational frequency as the adrenal glands, it's actually helping to support those adrenal glands, that even though we're not able to change our perception right away, it's actually giving our system more energy to get through that busy day. So that's, a really, really easy thing to do. The next thing to do would be trying to get people to look into doing Tai Chi. And it's quite easy, because you can go on YouTube and just find some videos on Tai Chi. But I will say to the listeners, whatever you're going to do, make sure it's realistic. Make sure it's something you can do on your busiest day. So I'd start with 5 minutes of Tai Chi. And the best time to do that would be 5 minutes before you start your day, and then 5 minutes before you end your day. So the strategy for that is, as we said at the start of this, most people only give themselves enough time to get ready, just about enough time to get ready. Then let's say that's 1 hour. Then I'd say to that person, then wake up 1 hour and 5 minutes before you start your day, and then use that 5 minutes to do that Tai Chi, or just to do 5 breaths, or to go and lie down with your crystals, or to go and put your feet on grass. So it's really that simple. And those are the things that we can do to help support our body's ability to handle stress. The other things that we can do to avoid stress is obviously start the day earlier, leave earlier, leave to go to your work earlier. I remember someone said once, if you're in a rush to get to work, leave earlier.
Hmm.
And that's really quite simple. So those two things that we talked about with stress is avoid it, which is leave earlier, or change your job, change the career path, or if that's too stressful, build your energy so that you can support the stress that you're going through on that day.
Right. Brilliant.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, and I love those points at the end, real practical, right? So to recap, what we do is make contact with the earth, right? Bare feet, 20 minutes a
20
day.
minutes.
Yep. Grass is best, but
Grass is best. Yeah.
but wood or marble will do also.
Yeah, because they're alive. They have life force. So the easiest thing for the listeners to remember is every single thing that grows, that's natural, has life force.
Mm-hmm.
Or it wouldn't have been able to grow in the first place. A rock has life force.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be in contact with life force. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is nowadays everything is so mechanical and shut off from reality. So if you think about you live in a house, it's all concrete, there's no life there. So your body starts to get shut down from its intimate connection with feel and vitality. So by being around those sort of things, it helps to kind of re-earth the person and, refuel that energy.
Yeah. Are you connected right now?
Yeah, I'm actually on marble. We've actually got marble flooring out here. So
nice.
Yeah, so it's quite good.
Nice. Great. So that was number one. Number two is bloodstone or tiger's eye crystal.
Yeah, because those are the crystals that, so every center of our body resonates at a specific frequency. And for the listeners that think, oh, that's a bit out of there, all they have to remember is atoms are made up of energy, protons, neutrons, and electrons. That's all energy in the body. So we're not trying to get airy-fairy with people. We're just telling them that it's all made up of energy. So now we're just trying to harness that energy.
Yep.
So yeah, tiger's eye and bloodstone are two of the crystals that resonate at that frequency. So you can either get them as gemstones, or you can get them as actual crystals. And you just wear them, just carry them around, make sure they're small enough you can carry them around in your pockets. And it helps to support that first chakra that relates to the intimate thought connection to safety and security, which relates to stress.
Fantastic. And last 5 minutes of Tai Chi first thing in the morning, and then about 5 minutes before you end your day.
Yeah, that would be good because you're promoting your body to shift to the rest digest response, which is the calming and health and healing response in the body.
That's right. Just 5 minutes, not that much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when people think about an advert between their shows, that's 5 minutes. So
right.
And that's a good point.
Yeah.
If they're watching their program, get up. Oh, it's a break. Okay, Tai Chi, 5 minutes. Okay, it's back. Still be able to watch the show. We're trying to find a way that clients can, I'm too busy. Well, then in the show,
that's right.
In a break, do your Tai Chi.
Awesome. Well, that's great advice. Thanks so much for your time today, Warren. I know our viewers are going to get a lot out of it. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. And we'll talk again next month. I'm looking forward to it.